Enter a world of horror you'll never forget with Psychosphere. Support the channel, subscribe.
It was a cold winter night when a diverse group of passengers boarded the night bus. They were tired and eager to reach their destinations, unaware of the terror that awaited them along the journey. The bus started moving, driven by a silent driver. Outside, the snow fell heavily, creating a dark and unsettling atmosphere. The interior of the bus was lit only by a dim and eerie light, making everything appear even more spectral. As the bus ventured along the desolate road, the passengers began to notice something strange. Every now and then, a passenger would mysteriously disappear, leaving no trace. They started feeling anxious and suspicious of each other. One of the passengers, a brave young woman named Sarah, decided to investigate. She started observing the driver, trying to discern if there was something sinister about his behavior. Occasionally, she noticed a malicious smile on the driver's face as he passed by the passengers. It was evident that he knew something that the others didn't. Tension aboard the bus grew with each passing moment. The passengers whispered to each other secretly, trying to uncover what was happening. But every time someone got too close to the truth, they mysteriously vanished. Sarah approached an elderly man sitting next to her. She asked him if he had noticed anything strange about the driver. The old man lowered his voice and said that he had heard rumors that the driver was a ghost condemned to endlessly traverse that road in search of souls to take with him into the afterlife. Sarah, frightened but determined, decided to uncover the truth. During a brief bus stop, she made her way to the driver's cabin. To her surprise, she found the driver sitting there, wearing a sinister expression on his face. The driver turned towards her, his eyes ablaze. He revealed his dark secret. He was indeed a ghost, a damned soul destined to torment anyone who boarded the bus. He needed to collect enough souls to redeem himself and find peace. Sarah was terrified but refused to be a mere victim in the hands of a ghost. She ran towards the bus exit, calling on the other passengers to follow her. Escaping was difficult, but the passengers, driven by fear and the will to survive, joined her. They clung to each other, seeking refuge and safety. As they ran along the snowy road, the ghostly driver chased after them, emitting spectral screams that echoed in the darkness of the night. The passengers held on to one another, trying to find comfort and support. The snow slowed them down, and the bus seemed to never cease its approach. Panic spread among them as the nightmare became increasingly real. Sudden gusts of icy wind howled around them, carrying with them unsettling voices. It was as if the souls of the vanished passengers had found their voice, pleading for help and warning others not to fall into the trap of the cursed bus. After an arduous run, the survivors finally managed to reach a small, abandoned shelter by the roadside. They barricaded themselves inside, hoping that the ghostly driver would be unable to breach those walls. Inside the shelter, the survivors caught their breath, but they were still trapped in the chilling embrace of horror. As they tried to gather themselves and plan their next move, they began to hear strange noises from outside. The barred windows trembled violently, and agonized screams seemed to emanate from the depths of the night. The ghostly driver was outside, desperately trying to get in and claim their souls. The situation seemed hopeless. The survivors were exhausted and terrified, but they refused to give in. They decided to fight, to do whatever they could to resist the horror that surrounded them. They gathered whatever they could find in the shelter: pieces of wood, rusted tools, anything that could serve as an improvised weapon. They prepared themselves for the inevitable confrontation with the tormenting ghost. Suddenly, The shelter's door shook violently. The ghostly driver had managed to break through. With fiery eyes and a malevolent grin, he approached the survivors, ready to claim their souls forever. But in that moment, Sarah summoned all her determination and courage. She stood up in front of the ghostly driver and defied him. She screamed with all her strength, refusing to become a victim of the horror that had imprisoned him. The ghostly driver paused, momentarily taken aback by Sarah's resolve. There was a conflict within him, manifesting in his spectral eyes. Then, with an anguished groan, the driver vanished into thin air, leaving the passengers in an eerie silence. The shelter was filled with a sense of relief, mixed with confusion. It was hard to believe that they had managed to drive away the ghost that had haunted them for so long. But there was still a lingering unease in the air, uncertain if the ghostly driver would return or find another way to torment them. With the first light of dawn, the survivors left the shelter and continued their journey on foot along the road. They walked together, seeking solace in each other's presence. Despite the lingering fear that enveloped them, they found a sense of solidarity in having overcome the horror they had faced. In the following days, their experience on the haunted bus became a legendary tale among them. Rumors of their adventure spread, and some began to avoid that road, fearing an encounter with the ghostly driver. But the survivors knew they had to confront their fears. They decided to share their story with the world, to warn others of the horrifying danger that lurked on that night bus. They joined forces to organize public gatherings, write articles, and speak about their experience on television. Their voice was heard, and authorities took their words seriously. The haunted bus was retired from service, and the ghostly driver was never seen or heard from again. Finally, the survivors could begin to recover from their terrible ordeal and strive to build new lives. But the memory of that night of horror would stay with them forever. They knew they had endured a harrowing trial, but they were determined not to let the horror define them. They started living their lives with gratitude, aware that each day was a gift and that they would face any challenge with courage and resilience. And so, the long horror bus story came to an end. But they always remembered that they had survived, that they had come together like an improvised family, and that they had found the strength to confront the demons that had haunted them. Their story became a testament to hope, courage, and perseverance, showing that even in the darkest of darkness, light can still shine.